All right. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading the Markets. I am your host, Vays. All right, coming to you live after the futures markets have opened. I've been wanting to go live all day. So much news happened today. It is insane. I've been on Twitter spaces between Mario and Simon Dixon and the Financial Summit spaces. Basically spent the whole weekend on spaces talking about the banking crisis, the new banking crisis. We now had a third bank fail as of an hour ago, officially, according to the Treasury, the FDIC, and the Federal Reserve. And that is a very important bank, Signature Bank. There's actually a branch not far from where I am. And so much going on, but we're going to go to the price. I know some people want to go to sleep, especially if you're in the European Union. Well, if you're in the European Union, you should think about getting out. But as long as you're there, I'm sure it's getting very, very late in the evening. Someone is asking, what is an MRI buy? Well, clearly you are brand new to this channel because it is an indicator that I designed that I use every single day on this channel to identify trading opportunities. All right, going to screen share, going straight to the charts. And we're going to start with the most important chart, hopefully, eventually. All right, and that is the daily chart. As I stated in the last 3 to 4 videos, because I'm now doing 2 a day, this was the absolute perfect MRI buy. Stated this many, many times over the last 3 candles, how perfect this was. You had a reversal hammer candle. You had the MRI buy with the arrow. You are bouncing off 2 moving averages. You have the round number of 20,000. Everything aligned for this to be the reversal. The only thing that sucked about it is that it happened over the weekend. The rebound came in actually right at market close. And this weekend was a very volatile weekend. It certainly could have gone either way. But I was confident that this was going to rebound the markets. But I also was honest with everyone that I am not going to rush into the trade until Monday. I don't like to buy on the weekends. That is my personal preference. But the buying opportunity was certainly there. Had this happened on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I would have been all over it on the following day, the moment we broke the prior candle's high. But in my trading, I got to use traditional markets. So I had no choice but to wait till Monday, and I am still waiting until Monday. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Joseph Samuel, thank you so much for your generous Indian rupee donation. Okay. So, I mean, there's no reason to go to the other charts, almost. The weekly chart has bounced off a beautiful area. Now, the weekly chart, however, needs to break these moving averages. The week's going to flip. Actually, the week's going to flip in 30 minutes. I should have waited 30 more minutes. That's what I was missing. I was waiting for the S&P futures to start, and I think there was like a time change this weekend in the US. So this used to switch at 7 p.m., but now it's going to start switching at 8 p.m. Man, I hate daylight savings time. I really do. It needs to be abolished, and it should have been abolished 50 years ago. Tone, it's like 2015 Cyprus banking crisis. Not exactly. Well, the Cyprus banking crisis happened in 2013. The Greek banking crisis happened in 2015. So you kind of confused the two, but that's okay. Yes, we've had plenty of banking crisis, but this is not what it reminds me of. As I stated yesterday, this reminds me more of the situation where people came to the realization that Bitcoin Cash was going to fail, or that, no, sorry, before that, people came to the realization that SegWit was going to win and SegWit was going to get past. This is before, Bitcoin Cash spun off. This reminds me of that pivotal moment in Bitcoin history when people came to the realization of Bitcoin's success. And I see that once again here. This is reminding me of this pivotal moment where for the next 6 months, everyone that has $5 in a bank is going to think twice about what is happening with their money. I said this on Spaces earlier. In 2020, when the COVID lockdowns started happening, everyone became a medical expert, because back in 2008, people just like the internet wasn't as robust in 2008. The iPhone was barely around in 2008, but everyone became a health expert in 2020, myself included, by the way. And then in 2021 and late 2020, everyone became an election expert. Very, very quickly, by the way. And then in 2022, everyone became a geopolitical expert and war strategy expert. And what is everyone going to be an expert at in 2023? And the answer is now clear. Everyone is to become an expert on the financial system and the banking crisis and contagion, and what is the Fed doing, and what is the interest rate doing, and what is the debt ceiling, and where is it going? That is about to be the highlight of 2023, because we just had 3 major banking failures. Now, 2 of those banking failures were all about crypto, and the other banking failure was all about Silicon Valley and startups. And who knows, there could be other banks, but the FDIC and the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, they all have to squash bank runs immediately, right now. But there could be a couple of other banks looming. So everyone is about to figure out what the hell is going on. And that's going to lead them to one and only one asset that doesn't have any counterparty risk. And that asset is Bitcoin. So I am incredibly bullish right now. I know it's not going to be easy because all these companies have just lost their banking partners. All these companies don't have banking anymore. It may be really hard to buy Bitcoin. You may have problems sending your dollars to Coinbase. You may have problems sending your dollars to Swan. I have no idea. That's going to be my first question. My first question on Swan Spaces tomorrow: who's your banking partner, right? This is about to become a question for every single company. Signature Bank is done. Signature Bank just shut down. That is correct. The Treasury has announced that FDIC is taking over Signature Bank. USDC is not done. USDC is still okay. I don't know where they're holding the rest of their money. But anyway, USDC actually just rallied back to $1. USDC is back because the FDIC is going to make users whole. So they're not bailing out the banks. Keep in mind, it's not a banking bailout. It's a it's the user. It's a bailout for the user of the bank. They're not bailing in the banks. They're actually bailing out the user of the bank. Tone, Coinbase just changed their daily deposit limit from 35,000 to 11,000. Yeah, because Coinbase probably had those banks as their partners, because I'm not sure if Coinbase has a banking license. Everyone is like, oh, Elon Musk is going to buy this bank. No, Elon Musk can't buy the bank. You need a banking license. You need a banking charter to buy a bank. To take over a bank, so they can't do it. Right, it's a depositor bailout. So everyone has always been scared of bail-in by the depositor if all banks collapse. But in order to prevent all banks from collapsing, you got to stop the spread of panic. The government had to immediately stop a bank run that would cause a bail-in. Don't worry, it's coming. It's just not coming next week. So for next week, the government has chosen to bail out the depositors of these banks, and the banks will still collapse. But every depositor, even if you had $50 million in an account at the bank and it's only supposed to be insured for $250,000, you will get your entire $50 million. Well, it's also Sunday, right? Wait till Monday before you start. I hate Coinbase as much as the next guy, but even I'm going to play devil's advocate here for Coinbase. If you're trying to move money today on a Sunday with all these issues, good luck with that. So at least give it till Monday afternoon to send your money to Coinbase to see what the problem is. The 1929 bank, I don't think there's going to be contagion next week. I think that the government, look, if I was in the shoes of the government, this is exactly what I would have done. This is the only way to stop a panic, to stop a bank run. Now, if you're sitting on a lot of Bitcoin, you may be praying for a bank run to make Bitcoin go up faster, but you shouldn't be, because Bitcoin is going to go up anyway. This is bad enough news to make people want to buy more Bitcoin. And it's happening in a cycle of Bitcoin where it very likely has already bottomed. And now this is that secondary pullback, which has been absolutely perfect. And it's happening in its giant 4-year cycle with the halving looming less than a year away. And as I said in my last stream, give it a few days and boom, the blocks are being mined at 8 minutes between block. So the timeline is being pushed up. So every single week, you're going to see this day tick forward by about 1 day because it's taking way quicker to mine these blocks. I still believe that the halving will take place at the end of March. Someone bought a bunch of Bitfarms on Friday. Good job. Good job buying Bitfarms on Friday. I hate daylight savings time. I really do. I think it's it was an idea. It was a stupid idea proposed in the 1800s in New Zealand, of all places. Thank you for that, by the way. And then it wasn't even put into practice until Germany, I believe in World War I or World War II. I don't remember. But Germany decided to adopt it in World War I to save money, to save electricity for the war. And for some dumb reason, the whole world adopted it. It is the most stupidest thing that humans do twice a year, consistently. Which money are they using to bail them out? Okay, so people have to understand that it's not that much money. First of all, it's not that much money. It's a long discussion. I don't really want to get into it tonight. There's so many Twitter spaces discussing the details of it. Am I going to do another 24-hour live stream for the halving? Guys, I don't have the kind of following I did 4 years ago. I don't think anyone will come on. And it takes so much to organize. I don't know. Me doing a 24-hour live stream again is probably unlikely. I do have 500 people watching right now, so my audience is coming back. Maybe I should stream at night more often. Where do we begin? It's not really a bailout. So the bank, everyone ran to one bank and took all their money out. We all know this, right? Banks they have money, but it's in the form of loans. So it's not liquid. So if everyone tries to pull out their liquid cash, the bank just doesn't have enough money. And in order to stop a giant bank run all over the United States, or in order not to destroy small banks with everyone moving their money to big banks because they know the big banks aren't going to be allowed to fail. Though keep in mind, the big bank has a high probability of getting a massive bail-in from the depositors. The depositors will be made whole in these banks. But what does it mean for Bitcoin? Let's talk about Bitcoin TA. I did this space for TA. So from a TA perspective, this is still just a 1 to 4 candle correction. We need to go past 4 candles to the upside. We need to break this moving average. And once we break this moving average, you will have an MRI resistance line on the daily. This is an area of resistance. But man, once we break out of this 25 zone, this 25K zone, look at it on the weekly chart. Once we break above this area, it'll be a lot easier to break these moving averages one at a time instead of together. The next moving average is going to be at the same level as an MRI resistance line, but I think they're going to be a lot easier to break together. Everything has worked out according to plan. For the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I don't know, I called everything perfectly. Every single move I called perfectly the whole way through. I don't know if any other analyst was able to do that. I know I've made some bad calls over the last year, but the last few months, I wouldn't have, even if I had a time machine, I would not have said anything different. Even in hindsight, I think everything I said has been right on the money. Here we are on my allocation chart. We're 40% long, and the moment these moving averages cross, that's it. There's no reason not to be 100% long in my view. I'll probably go in on Monday an additional 20 to 40%, and then I'm going to raise that to 100% the moment all these moving averages cross based on consensus, just based on consensus. Why didn't the S&P futures dump? Well, multiple reasons why the S&P futures went up the moment the market opened at 6 p.m. And remember, the government made sure to announce this news right as the futures were opening. Multiple reasons. First of all, because of the situation with these banks, and the Federal Reserve is partially responsible for the blow up. Boom, right there. So I looked at this an hour ago, and 1 hour ago with data, this said, yeah, it was 5:33. It's at 5:33 Central Time. This was 60% and this was 40. Look at it now, 84.1. There's no way in hell the Fed is going to raise interest rates 50 basis points. The Federal Reserve is partially responsible for the blow up of Silicon Valley Bank. I can get into the details as to why the Federal Reserve is responsible, but basically they raised rates too far too fast. Oh, I don't have the link here. Oh, I have the link here. I spent the last 2 days while in Spaces the whole time trying to do my taxes, which is a whole other nightmare. But see, right here, I've talked about this chart. I'm having way more live viewers than usual. I'm more than doubling my live viewers right now. Guys, if you haven't watched me in a while, you got to go back and watch the last 7 videos. Just watch it on 2x. Find a way. I discussed the whole problem with the Federal Reserve. Where's the Fred database? Fred, federal funds rate. One of the reasons why Silicon Valley Bank had a bank run, and every single bank has this problem, not every single bank, but most banks have this problem, is that the rate went up too far, too fast. I also explained the fact that I agree with the Fed that the interest rate should be at its current level, if not higher. But I disagree with raising it so quickly. And I disagree with lowering it this low into after the dot-com crash, lowering it way too low after the housing bubble, keeping it way too low for like an extra 3 years, and then putting it way too low during COVID. So this curve should have been looking very different. I don't want to draw on top of this, but this curve should have looked completely different. But because of how fast the rates went up, the banks ran into trouble with the bonds that they were holding. They were holding intermediate to long-term debt and of the US government. And that debt crashed in value. And they didn't want to sell that debt. But when all these depositors started coming for their money, they had no choice but to market and sell some of that debt. And that's how they got into trouble. And now they're realizing monster losses on their government bonds. So therefore, the Fed now has to slow down the rate hikes. Therefore, the stock market loves it that the rate's not going to go up. That's one bullish factor. The other bullish factor is in order to bail out these banks, the government is stabilizing the financial system. So they're adding confidence into the system. Plus, in order to do this, the government will have to print more money. They're saying that the taxpayer is not on the hook, but and that's possibly true, but we don't know yet. But short term, the government does have to print money. So this is a borderline QE to bail out these banks. So anytime money is being printed, hey, markets love cheap money. Not exactly like 08, but man, but that's what I mean, right? Access to information is so much easier now than in 08. In 08, we didn't have these kinds of cell phones. We didn't have Twitter Spaces. We didn't have all these tools to be expert on the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and FDIC. No one's an expert at that. By 3 months from now, everyone's going to be an expert. Okay? That's the new one. That's the new thing that everyone wants to be an expert at. This year, last year, everyone was an expert in geopolitics and war strategy. The year before, everyone was an expert in elections, and the year before, everyone started becoming an expert in health and medicine. And this year, everyone's going to be an expert on the financial system, and that's when they'll realize that Bitcoin is the one and only solution. Yeah, you also don't have ChatGPT. Well, ChatGPT is about to be very, very confused. Tell you that much right now. Which platform do I trade on? I trade on Interactive Brokers. I trade on Interactive Brokers. They trade Bitcoin futures, they trade GBTC, and they trade other tools that allow me to trade Bitcoin. So we're about to break. This is a 4-hour chart. It doesn't really matter. Now, this could be bad for the US dollar. US dollar should probably be dropping today. I still think the dollar will be fine because other countries are going to blow up their currencies. When all in? Well, pretty much now. I think this GBTC discount is about to go way up, and I'll tell you why. So as much as people hate GBTC and everyone is like, oh, go buy real Bitcoin, and hold your keys. All of these Bitcoin companies just lost banking partners in Signature and in the other one that failed on Monday. It was Silvergate. So it's going to be very difficult to get your dollars into a place that will sell you Bitcoin. And the easiest place to get Bitcoin exposure is still GBTC. So once the FOMO sets in, people are going to buy GBTC. And there's no more new GBTC shares going to get created. There could be a few, but not many. So we could be in a situation where GBTC actually flies back into a premium if there's not enough GBTC shares to go around. See, right now there is a monster excess of GBTC shares. But if that access gets wiped out and everyone is buying and holding GBTC because they think Bitcoin is going to go to 100K this year, this premium could actually go back to 10-20% above zero. Swing the other way. The pendulum can swing the other way. Satoshi Corner writes, will price go up due to people finding it harder to buy through exchanges due to bank wire problems? Well, no, that means that doesn't mean price goes up. That means that these crypto exchanges are going to have massive volatility in both directions. That means money can't go in there to stabilize the price of Bitcoin. So expect more volatility, but you should have no problem sending money to a broker like a Fidelity, like a Charles Schwab, like Interactive Brokers, and buying a Bitcoin quasi ETF like GBTC. Again, I'm not, I don't want to sound like I'm promoting GBTC, but if you think Bitcoin is going to go up and you want to own Bitcoin and it's hard for you to get your hands on Bitcoin, what is the next best way to make money? You got to buy a proxy product that mimics the price of Bitcoin. You can buy a Bitcoin miner, or you can buy GBTC or another Bitcoin quasi ETF product. What's my target for Bitcoin this year? My target remains, it's approximately 50,000 at the end of this year, but then go up very quickly next year. So you see my targets. I show this chart every now and then. This is my long-term chart, my latest long-term chart. It's right here. So you can see potentially we can go straight up right now and hit. This is, what's the date here? Okay, that's March 2024. So sometime this summer, we can go back and hit 60,000, 50, 60,000, and then go down into the halving, into the halving date and break the halving at about 50. Or we can keep going into the halving at about 50. So if you're looking at year end, I have my targets at approximately somewhere between 40 and 50,000 is where I see Bitcoin at the end of this year. I don't know what dollar on-chain means. I have no idea what that means. 200,000 seems legit. I don't see it this year, but I certainly see it next year after the halving. Next year after the halving, I see 200. I can see 200. Do I trade FX? No, I don't trade FX. I've never traded FX. I've traded equities. I've traded options on equities. I've traded futures, but I've never traded FX. It just wasn't something I've traded. Yeah, wow, I'm really breaking a recent record. I think this is the most live I've had this year so far. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming back and watching. All right, let me see what else you guys have. Yeah, the close is in 1 minute. It used to be 7 p.m., but because of the damn clock change, this is a beautiful day. I mean, the volume isn't great, but it's also Sunday. Don't forget that it's Sunday. I have confidence that this is the low. Nothing is ever certain. Nothing is ever 100%. But if we go back in history on the daily chart, back to the bull markets of prior, what year is this? I mean, here's an example. I wasn't crazy about this candle at the time, even though it was an MRI buy. I just didn't like the structure. But look at the volume right here on this candle. That's huge. And it had a follow through the next day, you know, and you can see how nicely we went all the way up to 50,000. That was a really, really, really good move. Now, it didn't stick. Well, it did eventually go to 60. But this secondary low, and it's hard to compare it to this pullback. It's hard to compare it to this area. But man, it reminds me of these other pullbacks that came in right to where they were supposed to go. Guys, I'm really bullish right now. This situation with the banks, the way it went down, the TA structure, like everything is lighting up for Bitcoin to start going higher. And what makes it even more interesting is that now that Bitcoin is finally, everything is aligning, you all are going to have trouble sending in your money from your traditional bank in to buy Bitcoin. So local Bitcoins may have to come back. I don't know. This is why I'm very bullish on GBTC right now, because I think it's going to become an option until the whole banking issue is resolved. I think you're going to have problems sending your cash around. Hey, my first question in the Swan Spaces tomorrow is going to be, is Swan affected by this? Was Signature their banking partner? Like, no one cared who the banking partners were for crypto companies, but suddenly it's a giant issue. Now, if you already have Bitcoin, man, you can sell that Bitcoin for a massive premium because local Bitcoins isn't even in operation. But be careful, you don't want to break money transmission laws. We got the new candle. Let's go look at how the weekly closed. Yeah, it always does that. It corrects by morning. The weekly closed as a monster hammer candle, an absolute monster, off of double support, Lucid SAR, and a 20-week moving average. Everything is just lining up absolutely perfectly. Now, the weekly is still not out of the woods. Not out of the woods. We need to establish a higher high. We established a final low. We established a higher swing high. We back tested, but now we need to break this. Once we break all this resistance, I become incredibly bullish on Bitcoin to at least this $30,000-$35,000 area. And yes, there is likely to be a pullback from there, but now all this resistance is going to be support. Where is Socrates? Socrates taking a nice needed break. Lucid SAR. I should move to the EU. I'll tell you what, I like Portugal. If Portugal still exists as a country next year, I'll go there on a little vacation. You guys have no idea how bearish I am on the European Union. I am as bearish on the European Union as I would have been on the Soviet Union towards the end of the collapse. Though the collapse of the Soviet Union was a good thing. The collapse of the European Union is more like the collapse of Russia in 1917 when the communists took over. Portugal should try to become a colony of Brazil to save themselves from the Marxist revolution that's coming to Europe. Though Brazil just elected one as well, so we'll see where that goes. I questioned that election very much, by the way, the Brazil one. Bitcoin doesn't go from 20K to 300K. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It's gone from $2 to 300 fairly quickly. It's gone from $20 to $3,000 fairly quickly. Well, $20 to $1,700 at least. And yeah, Bitcoin can easily go from 20,000 to 300,000. Easily. Now, I don't think that's going to happen until the earliest I think it can happen is the end of 2024. That's my earliest timeline, but it can certainly happen. Well, more like mid 2025 is how I have 300,000. So 300 to me, 300,000 is way more likely than sub 10,000. I'm not on the sub 10,000 bandwagon. If you ask me right now, what's more likely, 10,000 or 300? I'm going to say 300. Can Coinbase still operate? Well, we're going to find out next week, won't we? They can still operate as an exchange, right? Remember, they're also an exchange, and an exchange charges fees. And Coinbase's main business is scamming you with shitcoins. So Coinbase can certainly still operate, but their division where you send them money to buy Bitcoin, that could be in a little bit of trouble for now. Well, my worst call was being bullish at the top for a little too long. I'm always going to be bullish at the top. I'm always going to be bullish at the top because I don't know where the bubble is going to end. So being bullish at the top is not a big deal. The difference is, yes, I was bullish on the day of the top, but I was also bullish on the day of every single top leading up to the final top. The difference with this top is that I didn't expect the top. Like, so here in 2013, I knew the top was going to come any minute. In 2017, I knew that, well, the top was going to come, not any minute, but in 2017, I knew the top could come any day. I even called for an annual top 2 weeks earlier, but it topped 2 weeks later. So at these tops, I didn't know when the music was going to stop, but I knew that it was imminent. Over here, I called this top absolutely perfectly. And I mean, the COVID bottom was easy to call perfectly, though I didn't think would fall that low. Right here, I knew that the top was coming any moment. So once again, I navigated the April top perfectly fine. Of course, I was bullish on the day of the top. I'll always be bullish on the day of the top, just like I was bullish every day prior to that, because there was always a new top every day. But at this top, in November, I did not expect a top to come any day, any week. I actually expected this to go significantly higher before the top came. So that was one of my probably worst outlooks in the market. I wasn't expecting 300K, but I thought we can get close to 100 before the music stopped. And that was probably my worst call. Other than that, I did pretty good. And a lot of people think I screwed up the bottom here, but here, but I really didn't, because I became a bear above 15,000, and I was a bear all throughout, especially on the crash from 6 to 3. Yeah, I was still a little bit of a bear here at the low, but just like I'm a bull at the top, I'll always be a bear at the low. I did eventually become a bull around 6, 7K. And then I became a bear again at 14. And then I became a monster bull right after the COVID situation. There's nothing to check on Coinbase. I have to wait till Monday. on Coinbase. There's nothing I can tell you about Coinbase. I have no idea if the stock's going to be up or down on Monday. We just don't know. We have to see. It depends on their banking partners. I bet you they're calling like companies right now, JP Morgan and others. They need banking services. I believe that GBTC can end up trading at premium. I do. Potentially later this year. I do believe that can happen. Tone, do you think that we were close to a US dollar collapse? No, I do not think we were close to a US dollar collapse. Remember, when people are running to the bank to take their money, that is not a US dollar collapse. People want the money. They want the dollars. That is not what a US dollar collapse will look like. It could be the collapse of the banking system, and then everyone has a central bank digital currency, a non-cash version of it, right? But there is still massive demand for the dollar itself. The US dollar itself is not yet at risk of collapse, because all those people lining up at the bank, what are they getting? They're taking the US dollar. I wish Tyler Jenks was alive today to see this. Oh my God. I really wish we would have been streaming all day with him. I wouldn't even be in these spaces. I would be getting all that knowledge from him. Guys, Dash and XRP can only be useful if you have toilet paper with the symbol XRP or dash on it. That is literally the only use of those brands. Well, again, I don't know what the Coinbase effects are, right? I don't know how much, if Coinbase had 200, I don't know, $3 billion sitting at Signature Bank, then FDIC is going to give them that money. But now they have to find another banking partner. I don't know what the, I don't know how this affects Coinbase. I don't know. I have not gone down that rabbit hole yet. We're going to find out tomorrow. I can't wait to do, man, tomorrow is such a busy day for me too. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. Coinbase has 250 to 300 at Signature. Okay, so they had less than Roku. And Roku, no, wait, they had more than Roku. They had less than Circle. Yeah, they had that money at Signature. I don't think Coinbase has a banking license. So Coinbase will need to find another bank. Or Coinbase may have to hold a stable coin, right? Coinbase may have to hold Tether. Or they have to find another bank. Now, Coinbase is, a reputable company that trades on the S&P. I'm pretty sure a bank like JP Morgan will provide banking services for Coinbase to park their $300 million. So they will just transfer that money into Chase or whatever, or another bank. But until that happens, it'll be hard for you to send your money into Coinbase in order to buy Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is flying, if Bitcoin is breaking 25,000 tomorrow, what are you going to do? How are you going to get exposure to Bitcoin if you don't have a guy down the street that can buy it for you, that you can buy it in cash? And also, how do you go and get the cash? You can't take out more than $8,000 to $10,000 in cash from any bank these days. So how are you going to get exposure? You don't want to buy Coinbase stock. They're in the middle of their liquidity problem, right? You may go with a Bitcoin miner. They may have their own problems. The simplest path to get Bitcoin exposure immediately is either in the futures market, if you know what the hell you're doing and you're allowed to trade futures, or you buy something like GBTC, which happens to trade at a massive discount. But I don't know where, and remember, GBTC is backed by Bitcoin. GBTC isn't backed by dollars sitting at Signature Bank that's suddenly collapsing. GBTC is holding Bitcoin to back their asset, which is currently being offered to you at a 40% discount. But why would you dump GBTC for MicroStrategy? MicroStrategy is a company with also their own problems, potentially. And MicroStrategy may not be trading at such a discount to Bitcoin's value the way GBTC is. No, I don't think this was orchestrated. The Fed was raising rates too quickly, waiting for something to break, and something broke, and here we are. You can buy Bitcoin via PayPal, possibly. PayPal should have a banking license. You can do it via PayPal. You're right. PayPal might be the solution. But PayPal won't let you take the Bitcoin either. I still believe GBTC is going to go into positive premium. So on PayPal, you're going to buy your Bitcoin at par. GBTC is at a 40% discount. Your credit card has a very low limit. You can't go and buy $20,000 of Bitcoin on your credit card. The credit card purchases from Bitcoin purchases from credit cards are usually limited to 500 to 1,000 bucks. Yeah, Joe's okay. I spent all day with Joe Saz yesterday. We were watching MMA. Man, Joe Saz is getting me into MMA. It's not the first time I went over to his place to watch MMA. Spot ETFs are not being approved. They're not close. Kraken also has a bit of a banking issue right now. GBTC is affected by Genesis. They should not be affected by Genesis. GBTC is a grayscale product that is independent. Four-hour chart is going to come up on an MRI sell. We are going up a little too far, a little too fast, but I am bullish on the market tomorrow. Man, it's really pushing the button here on. I'm just bullish on the market. The Fed's going to slow down. The Fed might have to do QE. The Fed may have to salvage all this mess. I'm bullish on the market. And if the Silicon Valley startup scene is being destroyed, that's great for the current tech companies that are already publicly traded. Yeah, I miss Tyler as well. Yeah, Joe cooked good burgers too. Does the MRI lag? No, MRI is actually forward-looking, right? Because I knew that the MRI buying opportunity was going to come days ago. I knew on which day it was going to arrive. Hey, Farmer, sounds like you were in some of our spaces the other day. And the answer is yes. It's possible that Grayscale's push for a spot ETF will remove all future ETFs from the market. That is a possibility. Bitcoin USDC spot pair just wicked to 50,000 on Binance. Well, yeah, that's weird. That could be a bad tick data. Rusty, you're going to sell eventually, man. You're going to sell eventually. You should see the cars I drive. You're going to sell eventually. Don't be like Tone. The Fed may not pivot, but they're definitely going to slow down. They're definitely going to slow down. They literally helped take down a major bank, like a top 15 bank in America went down, and the Fed rising of interest rates was that last straw. It wasn't the main factor, but it was certainly a factor. Once Grayscale becomes an ETF, that's going to be a while. It's going to be years. Won't they sell some of the Bitcoin in the fund? Yes, they will. But that's not happening for years. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We're at 750 live viewers. I missed the days of having 1,000 live viewers every time. I guess we need more banking crisis. Bitcoin was built for this. The TA is bullish. Fundamentally, we're bullish. I love the cycle that we're in right now. We're in a perfect time in the cycle where Bitcoin rises. Right here, 60 bars away from the halving is when things start to bottom out and rise. And here we are, 60 bars away from the halving on a weekly scale. 60 weeks away. A little over a year. A little over a year away. I mean, I randomly chose 60 bars. I did it because when I was doing this for a presentation, it was exactly 60 bars away. But again, this is, I don't know when the halving is. I am projecting the halving for March 24. That's when I'm expecting the halving to take place. The last week of March is my projection for the halving. Now, obviously, if the halving's a month later, 60 weeks would have been, hasn't happened yet, or close to starting. But if the halving takes place in, say, February, then 60 weeks was way earlier. This is my best guess that the halving is going to be the last week of March. Peter Schiff understands the problems. Unfortunately, he has very terrible solutions. Same thing with Nouriel Roubini. Understands the problems better than anyone. The guy is incredible at understanding the financial problems of the United States economy. But his solutions to those problems are borderline insane. If Bitcoin hits 300K, probably Lambo time. There's one in the background. There's one in the background of my video. I might have to buy that one. Hold on. Right there. I'll be driving that. I don't know about the color though. Green sounds more like it, right? Or orange, Bitcoin orange. Hey guys, since I took the camera off, I'm gonna open one of these packs. Bitcoin trading cards, they are all sold out. Today is a good day. Today is a lucky day. Is today the day? I'm down to just 3 packs. I've already opened 2 of these boxes. They look like this. And I got 2 packs left in there. I just grabbed a random pack. I'm not looking at the cards. I really want that Tone Vays card. I have to pull it. I did buy another box before they sold out. I don't want to open that box. I want to keep it. All right, card number. Oh, I opened them backwards. So I already know the last card, the most important card. This is now the 5th card that I have like this. It's a rare card, 1 of 500. Oh man, I should have checked where the front and where the back was. Not the Tone Vays card, but it is a pretty rare card. I will be putting that away. Here are the rest of the cards. We have the influencers card. You have Gandhi on here for peace and a founding father and some economists. We have the FOMO card. Get that one all the time. We have one of my favorite cards, because it has like a bull and a bear as the economics card, and playing chess. We have the bull markets card and the slaying of a whale. Looks like the bear whale. Creature from Jekyll Island. The freedom card, always a great card. Bitcoin card, perfect. Perfect time to get that card. We have fold, and we have Bitcoin times. Our resources cards. All right, let's go back to the charts before I forget screen share. Guys, if you haven't watched me in a while, go back and watch the videos from earlier next week. It'll be worth it. I explained the entire problem of the Fed raising the rate too far too fast, but I did it from the perspective of how bad it is for government debt. I didn't do it from the perspective of how bad it is for the private sector banks that are holding government debt. I did not look at it from that lens. And that is the lens that helped break Silicon Valley Bank. Nordic Hunt, I'm reading your message. Oh yeah, no, it's great if you're holding Bitcoin. It's a great day. It's a great day. The rest of the world is shit, which is why I should be doing a political podcast instead of a Bitcoin podcast. But hey, some good news here. I'm down to only 2 packs, guys. I don't know what I'm gonna do. If there's no tone vase in these packs, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to open another box. It'll be my only other box. I don't want to open it. And I can trade for it with my HAL card. But I also need the Cypherpunk card. I wouldn't be scared for the USD. I'm still bullish USD for a little while, a few more years. If you're scared for the USD, Bitcoin. I don't know about reverse head and shoulders. I don't really care for that pattern. Look, we're still rising. This is awesome. We might recapture 25K this week in Bitcoin. I think the tone vase card is probably worth 200 to 250 bucks. Just my guess. The tone vase card is probably worth half the price of a brand new box. I think the price of the box went up to $650, so maybe the tone vase card is worth about $325. What is MAF, moving average forecast? I just have shorthands. That's just the MAF is the 3 moving averages and projected forward for three periods. That's all it is. It's just it's literally 3 moving averages, but you could also have it, you know, a daily time frame and a weekly time frame, and it defaults, I think, to the daily if it's not those time frames. It's just a moving average, just a single thing for moving averages. I don't think you can get this. I think this is just, you know, private. I think this is my code. Yeah, it's my code. I never released it. I don't know. I'm just busy. It's a combination of busy and lazy. This was written a long time ago. I used to be a programmer back in the day, but I was never a good programmer. Tone-based rookie card, more like tone-based retirement card. Kraken cash out. Yeah. Kraken was using both banks. Hopefully they have another banking partner. These card boxes are sold out. You can check my video description, but Series 1 is sold out. Series 2 will launch in Miami for their conference in May. Guys, if you really want to know about the MRI, go to tonebase.com, products and services, MRI indicator. There are some descriptions here. You can also click on Trading View. It will take you to my more detailed description on Trading View of the indicator with a bunch of examples. There's like 20, 30 examples. And then when you purchase it, it comes with a 5-hour educational video on how to trade it. Okay, so that explains everything. It takes you 5 hours to explain how to trade it. And it's a one-time fee, $400, used to be $1,000. I drop it about $100 every year. You can wait till next year and it'll probably be down to $300. But this year it's $400. I drop it every year. 300, then 2, then 1, and then probably it'll be free. You can wait 5 years until it's free, but it's $400 now. Also, if you're new to trading, I have some on-demand videos, products and services, on-demand videos, and I also have a free Learn Trading section. Guys, I've never used GPT, whatever it is. I've never used it. All right, I'd love to stay on, but I have not eaten all day. I haven't eaten since Joe cooked those burgers yesterday around, I don't know, 6, 7 p.m. when we were watching the MMA fights. So I think it's time to go get some food. And I'll be with you tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. But man, this MRI buy off the support, off the moving averages, the TA was perfect. The cycle time period is perfect. And the fundamental environment right now is perfect for Bitcoin. So I am bullish. We'll see what happens by morning and see you all in about 12 hours. All right, guys. Talk to you all soon.